Hey, this is Braden Wiens with Wiens Wagyu, and I want to share with you guys what you'll be receiving when you order a tri-tip roast from our website. First thing you see when you'll get your roast, it'll be completely frozen, vacuum packed, and you could either refreeze or keep it frozen, or you could put it straight into the fridge, let it thaw. It's up to you. Another thing you'll notice is we leave the fat cap on. That gives you the option of trimming it to how you'd like. If you want to leave it on and have a big fat cap, you could do that. If you want to trim it down and have no fat cap, it'd be a more traditional tri-tip. We leave it up to you. You'll see on our website we sell them as 3 pounds. I always guarantee 3 pounds or more. This one weighs 4 1/4. And because I leave the fat cap on, I try to make them bigger than 3 pounds so that you could trim it and still have plenty of meat and get your 3 pounds out of it. So when you're going to thaw this, I would suggest to put it in the fridge, let it thaw for a few days. That's always best, to thaw it slowly in the fridge. A few options on how to prepare this steak or this roast. One thing you could do, you could cut it up, cut it against the grain into steaks. With that fat cap on there, it's almost like a picanha. Makes really great steaks. This is a great cut for get together, holidays, birthdays, celebrations. It's almost like a good option besides a prime rib. You cook it almost just like a prime rib. So one thing you could do with it, and what I'm going to do with it, I'm going to do a reverse sear on this thing. You could do a reverse sear many ways. What I'm going to do, I'm going to trim this fat cap down to 1/4 to 1/2 inch. I'm going to score the fat so that it doesn't scrunch up on that side. I'm going to cover it in a rub, get a good amount of salt. You can put a lot of salt on this thing. It's a big piece of meat. Let that salt and that seasoning get to the middle. I'm going to re-vacuum pack it, put it in the fridge to let that seasoning penetrate before I do my cook. Try to do 24 hours on that if I can. How I'm going to do it, I'm going to smoke it indirectly, 275, until the internal temperature reaches around 135. I like to go medium rare, maybe a little bit past on my tri-tips. The tri-tip can handle a little bit more heat than other cuts. So what I'm going to do after that, I'm going to set it off after the indirect heat to the right internal temperature. Let it rest for maybe 15-20 minutes so that when I do my sear, I don't continue cooking it and overcook it. That's how I like to do my sear. A couple options on your sear. You could take this thing and you could put it in cast iron or however in a skillet, sear it that way. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to grill it and do a direct heat, real high temperature heat, hot as I can get it. Get a nice sear on all the sides. After that, you let it rest again, and when you serve this, you're going to want to cut this against the grain. It's pretty apparent which way the grain goes. It always goes this way on a tri-tip. So you're going to want to cut it lengthwise into steaks that way. So that's how I'm going to do it. And I'll show you what it looks like after it's cooked. Here it is before we throw it on the smoker. I just wanted to show you how I scored this fat, trimmed it down a little bit, and I put a rub on it. The rub I used was salt and pepper and garlic powder. Kept it real simple. You really want that Wagyu flavor to be the main note on this. Don't over season it. Don't put a strong rub on there. Just plenty of salt. And when I did put that rub on, I did vacuum seal it, put it back in the fridge. And keep that dry brine nice and tied up on there. Hey, it just started raining. We're trying to get our tri-tip on here. I was going to talk to you a little bit about a couple options for indirect cooking. One is with a grill. If you have an indirect grill, you can, like a pellet grill or any kind of smoker where your heat is indirect, that's a good option. Another good option is indoors. You can do it in the oven. I would cook at 275 till the internal is 135. Another good option is to sous vide. I do sous vide at 135, probably for 4 hours until or 4 or 5 hours, depending on the thickness of your tri-tip. Also depending on the internal temperature of your tri-tip when you start. Really important to get your tri-tip to room temperature or really close before you start cooking. I always say that you actually start cooking when you take it out of the fridge. You start getting that internal temperature closer to medium rare. So I'm going to throw this on the grill, and I'll see you when we start searing. I'm going to throw this tri-tip on. You can see I scored all the fat. I'm going to put the fat side down. It's going to be my buffer from the heat, and hopefully some of that renders down. And so fat side down, indirect heat. We'll see you in a bit. We've reached about 125 internal temperature. I'm expecting when I take that off, that's going to carry me up to about 135. So we're going to take it off, let it rest for a little bit, and then sear it when we're done. Alright, we got it to the right internal temperature. We're going to sear all the sides, and we'll be ready to serve it.